Right now, somewhere in your kitchen, there's probably a diet plan taped to the fridge. Lean meat. No grains. No sugar. Eat like a caveman, it says. Eat the way your ancestors ate, before agriculture ruined everything. It sounds convincing. It sounds primal. But the real answer is far stranger than a plate of steak and eggs. Your ancestors weren't eating a high-protein meal plan. They were doing something far more desperate, and far more clever, than that. Start with a simple question. What does a wild human diet actually look like, before farms, before supermarkets, before the idea of diet even existed? Most people picture a hunter, spear in hand, bringing down a mammoth. Meat, and lots of it. That image comes from cave paintings, from museum dioramas, from 100 documentaries with dramatic music. But paintings show what people wanted to remember. They don't show what people actually ate on a random Tuesday, 300,000 years ago. Here's where the story gets interesting. Paleoanthropologist Catherine Milton spent years studying the diets of wild primates, humanity's closest living relatives. What she found didn't match the meat-heavy myth at all. Most primates, most of the time, survive on plants. Fruit. Leaves. Roots. Insects when they can get them. Meat, when it appears, is a rare and valuable bonus euro, not the foundation. And early humans, evolving from primate ancestors, likely followed a similar pattern for an enormous stretch of their history. Not carnivores. Not vegetarians either. Opportunists. But something changed. And that something is the part almost nobody talks about. Your brain is expensive. Not expensive in money, euro expensive in energy. It weighs about 2% of your total body weight, but it burns roughly 20% of your daily calories, just idling, just existing. No other primate spends anywhere near that share of its energy budget on its brain. So how did early humans afford it? Anthropologists Leslie Aiello and Peter Wheeler proposed an answer known as the expensive tissue hypothesis. Their idea was elegant. The body can't just add an expensive brain without cutting costs somewhere else. And the place early humans cut costs was the gut. Compare a human gut to a gorilla's. A gorilla's digestive system is massive, built to slowly break down huge volumes of fibrous plants over many hours. A human gut is much smaller, much less capable of processing raw, tough plant matter efficiently. Something allowed early humans to shrink that expensive digestive machinery and reinvest the energy elsewhere euro into a growing brain. What was that something? Fire. Primatologist Richard Wrangham built an entire theory around this single idea, and he called it the cooking hypothesis. His argument is startling once you sit with it. Cooking isn't just about taste. Cooking is pre-digestion. Heat breaks down tough plant fibers and proteins before they ever reach your stomach, meaning your body has to do far less work to extract the same calories. A cooked sweet potato delivers dramatically more usable energy than a raw one, even though the potato itself hasn't changed in size. Wrangham's claim is that cooked food, not raw meat, may be the single event that made the modern human brain possible. Not the hunt. The hearth. So picture it differently now. Not a hunter chasing a herd across open grassland, spear raised. Picture a small group crouched around a fire at the edge of camp, roasting roots dug out of the ground that morning. That image feels far less cinematic. But it may be far closer to the truth. And here's where the plot thickens even further. For decades, the popular story insisted that humans only started eating starchy foods euro grains, tubers, roots euro after the invention of agriculture, roughly 10,000 years ago. Before that, the story went, humans were pure hunters, and starch was basically absent from the diet. But archaeologist Amanda Henry decided to test that assumption directly. She examined the fossilized dental plaque of Neanderthals euro ancient bacterial buildup preserved on their actual teeth euro and searched for microscopic starch grains trapped inside it. What did you think she found? Starch. Everywhere. Grains from wild grasses. Residue from cooked root vegetables. Evidence baked directly into fossilized teeth that Neanderthals, tens of thousands of years before farming existed, were already eating and cooking starchy plants as a regular part of their diet. Their ancestors only ate meat story wasn't just incomplete. In important ways, it was backwards. Why does this myth persist, then, if the evidence points somewhere else entirely? Because meat leaves better evidence. Bones survive. Butchered animal remains survive at archaeological sites for hundreds of thousands of years. Roots, tubers, wild greens, and starchy plants rot away almost completely, leaving almost nothing behind for an archaeologist to dig up millennia later. For most of the 20th century, scientists were essentially reading half a book and assuming they'd read the whole thing. The meat was preserved. The plants were not. And an entire cultural mythology about the paleo diet was built on that incomplete evidence. Here's the twist that changes how you should think about all of this. Early human diets weren't rigid. They weren't a single formula, a single macro split, a single correct way of eating that applied everywhere on Earth. Humans living near coastlines ate enormous amounts of shellfish and fish. Humans in dense forests ate mostly fruit, nuts, and insects. Humans on open savannas ate more roots, tubers, and, yes, occasional meat when a hunt succeeded. The defining trait of the early human diet wasn't a specific food. It was flexibility. Humans survived, and eventually thrived, precisely because they weren't locked into eating one thing. They ate whatever the local environment could reliably provide, and they used fire to make almost all of it more digestible. That flexibility might be the actual inheritance sitting inside you right now. Not a genetic mandate for steak. Not a biological ban on bread. A digestive system and a brain, shaped by hundreds of thousands of years of opportunistic, adaptable eating plants when plants were available, meat when meat was available, and cooking used constantly to unlock calories that raw food simply couldn't offer. So think again about that diet plan on the fridge. The one insisting there's a single, ancient, correct way to eat, hiding somewhere in the deep past, waiting to be rediscovered. The deep past doesn't actually support that story. It supports something messier, and honestly more interesting. Your ancestors weren't chasing purity. They were chasing survival, wherever they happened to find themselves, using whatever the land and the fire could give them. Right now, somewhere in your kitchen, there's still a diet plan taped to the fridge, promising the one true way your ancestors ate. But your ancestors never had a fridge, and they never had a single plan either. What they had was fire, flexibility, and the ability to eat almost anything the world put in front of them. That, more than any single food, is what actually got you here.